Lil Uzi Vert is an artist that has been popular for close to a decade, famously rising to fame alongside his iconic freshman class during the Soundcloud era of rap music. But whilst his music has been loved by the majority of hip-hop fans, it seems the artist themselves thinks the opposite. Perhaps Uzi's biggest fault is the fact that he doesn't believe in himself, which means he has been stuck in artist hell, an endless cycle of horror, constantly trying to attain the heights he once reached with Luv Is Rage 2. It's important to understand why Luv Is Rage 2 is the album that Uzi can't live up to. Whilst it isn't anywhere near his best-selling project, the overwhelming opinion is that it's by far the artist's best work, his Magnum Opus as of right now. What made the album so great was how different it was. Released back in 2017, there is a considerable difference in the amount of melodic rap music that you'd hear, with the sound basically taking over the genre in the past few years. Uzi was a breath of fresh air for a dying part of the music industry. As one of the leading figures of SoundCloud rap, he would become an inspiration for many upcoming artists, managing to sustain his fame without the release of a project from 2017 to 2020. This 3-year wait attained a level of anticipation from fans that is extremely rare to see, and perhaps it was the first signs of Uzi's insecurities.
Where am I?
Welcome to Eternal Atake.
Which leads us into the next part of Uzi's discography. Eternal Atake was an album that had a chokehold on rap fans ever since it was announced. Teased a year after the release of Luv Is Rage 2, you'd still have to wait another 2 years to actually hear the project. And what an eventful wait it was. In April 2019, Lil Uzi Vert's manager revealed that Eternal Atake had undergone at least 11 versions since its inception, pointing to Uzi's perfectionist nature as the main cause for all the changes. Whilst it's normal for albums to have several different versions before the actual release, it isn't healthy to strive for perfection, as you'll be looking for something that doesn't exist. Nevertheless, the wait for the album would continue, as this update was given a year before it finally came out. I wonder how many versions of Eternal Atake are actually out there. Uzi's desire to please his entire fanbase continued in the rollout for the project, with the artist allowing fans to decide which cover art he would use for the album. Whilst on one hand, this could have just been Uzi attempting to involve his fanbase as part of the rollout, it could instead further emphasize the artist's unhealthy desire to do what suits his fans, and his attempt to achieve what he once did with Luv Is Rage 2, an album that was loved by everyone. The album would drop at a weird time for the world, with the pandemic just around the corner, but that wouldn't stop the project from amassing serious numbers, with Eternal Atake selling a huge amount first week. Fans of Uzi, along with fans of the genre, had enjoyed the album. Everything was going to plan, or so we thought. Even after 11 or more changes, Lil Uzi Vert still didn't like his album. He didn't even give the original Eternal Atake time to breathe, with a deluxe version being dropped just a week after its release. And you could say, well, he just wanted the fans to have more music, and whilst that could be true, the fact of the matter is, the Eternal Atake that was released was incredibly disappointing for Uzi. The artist admitted to the album being dumbed down and not reaching its full potential in the following year, explaining that it was dumbed down in order to allow everyone to enjoy it.
Come on, Uzi, you need to drop, and I didn't want it to go on to 3 years, so I dropped this album, and the music is tolerable. It's not, oh my god, this is...
Uzi has incredibly high expectations of himself, which shows when he stated the album plus the deluxe only had 1 or 2 great songs on there.
I say the music wasn't that great for me. It would have been an amazing project for anyone else, but the music wasn't that great. The music is, you know, usually my is automatic, and I had 1 or 2 great songs on there out of a whole deluxe and a whole album.
He needed more. He needed to be the star he presented himself as.
Honestly, from Lil Uzi Vert, we expect a star, moon, spaceships, and the high above. We expect everything from him.
But whilst Eternal Atake would have classed as success for just about any other rap artist, it wasn't enough for Uzi.
Because I'm already giving off this persona. I have a pink diamond in the middle of my head, yo.
Continuing his search for perfection, continuing his cycle of horror. Our next segment focuses on Uzi's most disappointing album yet. The Pink Tape came 3 years after the release of Eternal Atake, but this time, it wasn't only the creator who thought the album was a letdown. After being heavily anticipated since its announcement in 2021, the Pink Tape once again went through a lot of changes before the version we got. The artist once
no,
said,
it's not.
It's not dropping next week?
Really?
No, it's not. Then it dropped next week, and then it sounds like shit, and I gotta hear it, well, not from you, but then I gotta hear it from like 100,000 people on the internet. This sucks! So you gotta let me take my time.
It's not gonna suck.
But I'm taking my time, so it won't suck.
I trust you.
which once again shows just how important people's opinions are to him. There had been several tracks Uzi had previewed that seemingly ended up going nowhere, and some of these tracks had serious hype around them too. The album suffered from trying to please every part of his fan base, resulting in the project being bloated as it came in at a runtime of 1 hour and 27 minutes. Had Uzi cut down the track list and made it more concise, it had potential to be a great album, but the amount of different styles didn't quite work for most people. During the lead up to the album, Uzi was in close contact with a fan page by the name of Uzi Rare Updates, with the artist asking the fan page for advice on Pink Tape's artwork and even the track list. In fact, it was because of Uzi Rare Updates that the Pink Tape cover was changed from its original version, a version that the majority of people had liked. This relationship ended on bad terms however, with Uzi dissing the page on his song X2. Now, Lil Uzi Vert has access to all the resources and big names he could possibly want, so why on earth does he resort to a fan page for advice on his project? Decisions like these and the clear lack of direction with Pink Tape just further highlights how lost the artist is at the moment. To top it all off, we'll run through Uzi's recent identity crisis. Barter 16 was meant to be a Lil Uzi project that paid homage to the incarcerated Young Thug, but it went a little bit further than just a tribute to the artist. Snippets that were released of the project featured Uzi cosplaying as Young Thug in the studio, wearing some classic outfits of his as well as emulating his Instagram stories. This new era of Uzi's came after he said, "Sitting here thinking about how I went #1 on an experimental tape. My apologies, Barter 16 mixtape on the way." Uzi emphasising the fact Pink Tape was experimental suggests he sees that the overall reception towards the album wasn't great, which is something we already knew. Barter 16 never ended up releasing. The true reason is unknown, but fans can only assume it is due to the entire album being leaked, which is something that has affected the artist for the entirety of his career. Around the time Barter 16 was meant to be releasing, Uzi took to Instagram to say he knew his music hadn't been hitting the same recently, as he hadn't gone through anything, meaning that Pink Tape was yet another album from the artist that he himself didn't like, reserving his stay in artist hell. At the same time though, he announced the third installment in the beloved Luv Is Rage series, with this album potentially being his last, with Uzi stating he wants to live a normal life after the release of his next project.
When's the album coming? Luv Is Rage 3. Is it really your last album?
Yeah.
Why is it your last album?
Cause I don't want to really make music. I want to make music. I love making music, but I don't really want to make music like that no more. You driving?
Clearly, making music is stressful for the artist, and his chase for perfection with each project has taken a toll on Uzi, with more Instagram stories of his detailing how his entire life has been affected by the music industry. Will Luv Is Rage 3 truly be Lil Uzi Vert's last album? The only way to find out is wait patiently. Perhaps his story will come full circle, ending his career at a high point, escaping the hell he's been in for the majority of his career.